What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Rivah. It's very nice to meet you. Before we get into this video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you guys give this video a thumbs up. And as I always say, make sure that you guys leave your comments in the comment section down below. It does not matter how you feel about this video. We all want to talk about it. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, follow my Instagram. It's at RIVAH_JORDON. If you're new to this channel, I don't watch any of these videos before I come and give my honest reaction right in front of you guys. So I like to go ahead and jump right into this video. So let's see what this conversation entails.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm fine. I was not expecting that.
Okay. You're in there getting your workout on. Look at you.
Thank you. It's what I do.
There you go. So what do you have for me? There's two topics we're talking about. Settling or dying alone. Or the Goldman Sachs $10 billion into a million black men. What do you want to do?
Let's do the settling and dying alone.
All right. You've heard what I have to say about a lot of stuff. What do you think about it?
I agree and I disagree.
Okay.
I want to say that last conversation was really good. You really had me thinking. The whole fear protection. I that's what I know a lot of me and my friends are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Not to throw myself under the bus, but I'm 30.
We all something.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a nurse practitioner in the emergency department. A lot of my friends are professionals and we're doing well, but we are single.
Mm.
Nurses chronically nurses are single more than anything else.
Yeah.
What? You think so?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I did a broadcast talking about the kind of women that high-value men typically don't date, and nurses were in that category
Oh, wow.
for a multitude of reasons. But what's funny is go back 80 years ago, and nursing was some of the most feminine work you could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can see that. Typically, I opposite, but I can see that now.
Well, today nurses work really long hours, those 3 days a week, 12 on, 12 off, high stress. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But at 30 years old, do you have any children?
No.
Okay. And what region are you in? Northeast, South?
I am Southern.
Okay. And if you don't, I'm just trying to respect your geographic privacy. At 30 years old, you said me and my friends are all kind of doing the same thing. What are some of the issues you're finding when you personally are trying to date? Before that, do you want to get married?
I do.
Okay. Do you want children?
I do.
How many would you like to have?
At least one or two.
Don't have one. Have two or none. Only children, that's a horrible way to be raised. Okay, so were your mom and dad married?
They were.
Okay. So what are you running into?
People, at least where I am, I feel like are not ready to settle. From like a previous show I watched of yours, you talked about the age difference. Men tend to get in their career, or especially black men, because you start trying to get our money right before we want to get married and have kids.
Okay.
So I'm 30. I've been at that point, but some are still not there yet.
So what's the oldest man you've ever dated?
How old? I would say closer to my age, like 32.
Okay. So that's one of the issues. So the comment section is off. It's just you and me talking.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I don't do that. Age gap dating. One thing that I don't think a lot of women have been told is that men, our brains don't really turn on until age 30.
I think this is I kind of can have an idea of where he's going to go with this conversation, but I think this is so vital. Like, I always talk to younger women like in their early 20s and like even like their late teens, and there, and even young men as well, like there's so much expectation on younger men to have it together right out of high school. Like you're the same age as this guy, you guys just got out of high school. Like how is he going to be able to support you? How is he going to be able to be, you know, all of these things that you are requiring? How can he buy you a Birkin bag? How can he buy you Gucci shoes? Like how can he do all of these things when you guys are literally at the same level of life where you're trying to figure things out? So I feel like guys, like younger guys and men in general, I feel like they just have it hard when it comes to the expectation of what they are supposed to provide, especially at younger ages, right? So I kind of get where he's gonna go with this when it comes to the age gap. Like obviously, if you want a man that's more established and you're looking for certain things, you probably do have to venture to somebody who's older, who's past all those stages in life and is more at like a stable playing field. You know, if that's what you're looking for. So let's see what he says.
Okay.
Yours turn on around 20. Ours turn on. The light is just now on. Click. The light's on. Between the 20 and 30, we don't know shit. I call it the twinkling 20s. The closer I got to 30, the more I realized I didn't know anything in my 20s. Between 30 and 35, this is where most men who are productive, competitive, and successful are starting to determine what kind of wife or family they would like to have, if any.
Mm-hmm.
I really personally don't feel like men in this country are ready for marriage until they're 35 years old. And then at that age, a 35-year-old man should be looking for a woman between the ages of 21 and 26.
And that's what I'm thinking, because I've watched your previous lives. But if, as we know, geriatric pregnancy is 35.
That's you.
Exactly.
So y'all, if you want to get married, a man who's ready to be married, have a family, and if it's anything close to a traditional Southern upbringing, talk about a man who's at least 40 years old. Mm-hmm. And see, dating men who are close to your age may feel like you got more in common, but there's a level of respect a woman needs to have for a man in order to follow him. And it's hard to look at your peer, somebody that's a year or two older than you, with the same level of respect.
I 100% agree with that. It's easier for you to be led by somebody who you know for a fact is older than you. You know what I mean? Just because of the fact that like their life experience has shown that they know more than you know. You know? So I do agree with that. I agree.
Also difficult for men to have acquired the kind of resources, the wisdom, the experience to adequately manage, shepherd, and administer a wife and family.
I get what you're saying, but then at the same time, I feel like I've done those things. So I would expect my counterparts to kind of be there as well.
But at what age?
Mm-hmm. I know mentally it may take over 30, like you said, 32, 35.
Men have it. I'm just saying what I'm saying. I think maybe you miss what I'm saying. Men have those things. They just don't get it until later in life. So do you want to date somebody roughly your age?
Roughly, yes. As you said,
I can't change biology. See, that's the problem. See, now we're going to have the problem. No, absolutely. I cannot make men mature or evolve any faster than they do. Throughout history, women have always matured earlier than men. Mm-hmm. Today, in the modern world, men are required to do far more than our fathers, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers. So people are getting married later. What is the problem dating somebody in their late 30s or 40s?
I don't see one. I have not been approached by someone. Yeah.
Okay, but if you were, what's the issue?
There's not.
Are you sure? Because what does a 40-year-old man to you look like in your mind?
Right. That's a good question. And that's not my thing frozen. That's there. That looks like that's on the video. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say you don't see one. All right. Do you want to share what's the nearest big city you live in next to you?
Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, which has population of 500 to 700,000. This is when it becomes a math equation. You got to look at the kind of lifestyle you want to have, the kind of man that would make the kind of income to help facilitate the lifestyle you want to have, how much work you want to have to do to support the family, if any. Because the problem is many women today are looking for men, the kind of men, and they're not in your area. It's like I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and they were in a remote part in the Northeast, and I'm like, that's where you go after you're married.
Right.
I can't make men pop up in a population of less than 400,000.
Makes sense.
And that's probably part of my problem. Because as far as finance and everything else, I'm fine with that. In my southern upbringing, I find the whole submissive, like that's how I was raised.
But what city are you in?
I am in South Haven, which is close to Memphis. It's maybe 20 minutes away.
Okay, so effectively Memphis. Now you got to know, just like I know, Memphis is rather colorful when it comes to dating.
It is.
So, you might want to consider moving. Because long distance relationships don't really work.
They don't.
And see, this is when I have become ruthlessly pragmatic. Far too many women today are doing what men traditionally have done. I go where the work is, meaning why am I working at? Because that's where I got my job off. But if you if you'd been thinking about, but do I want to be married and have kids and so forth? Then how am I going to be found by my husband if I'm living in a place with 150,000 people? That's the dating pool.
I love this conversation a lot. I love the open dialogue between them two, and I also love that the way that this conversation is broken down, because it makes total sense. Like, you get a job somewhere, and yes, it's a great job and all that, but yeah, if you're not thinking about the fact, I'm getting up there in age, I don't see anybody around here, maybe I should move, or maybe I should even go venture off into that area to see if I find, you know what I'm saying, this is the area I want to live in, let's see if I find a guy over there. That's actually logical thinking, if you ask me.
Think about the high school you went to. That's who you can date from. Versus if you go to college, you get all those people.
Right.
So if you and your friends are being unsuccessful, it's because you're all competing for the same very small pool.
Understandable.
One reason. So at 30 years old, if you're a nurse, can't you move to Dallas, Houston? You can do what you do in a big city.
I can. I've traveled, and I'm willing to move. Being a nurse practitioner in ED, I can work anywhere.
Well, what I'm saying is, and what I'm also saying is, Black women are going to have to get very pragmatic and competitive. Start, when Becky and them want something, they go find it. They'll go sit in history class because he has history class at that time. She just want to be next to him. And too many Black women just expect it just to happen.
Drop out the sky.
Because y'all already outnumber us.
I think I had this expectation, especially being a Southern woman and traditional. I want the man to be at least assertive enough to approach me so I know he wants me, as me chase him.
Well, Scarlett O'Hara also had to be in proximity of Rhett Butler. He did not have to go dig her up or find her.
But I feel like that's part of that scammer society. That's that Southern Belle, I want you for this reasons.
No, my point is, if you want a man to court you, you have to be in his proximity.
Right.
Gotcha.
He ain't gonna court you from Atlanta and you in Memphis. He gonna go over to Midtown. See, that's the thing. You ladies know how to organize a life, a career, but when it gets to your relationships and your romantic life, it's like, I just want the dream and the fantasy and let's be nebulous. No.
One thing I want to say is that, based off of where she is and stuff like that, and a lot of women will go to work, go to school, go home, or go here, go gym, go home, go this. And it's like, yeah, you're really not in the space of where you are going to find someone, because you're literally doing the same routine every single day. Like, how do you expect someone to like literally drop from the sky? Two, I feel like that fantasy thing is, placed into women's heads from Disney, like Disney movies and like the Cinderellas and the this and the that and all of these things. And however, I feel like the logic part in when it comes to a relationship with women and men is kind of like turned off, because women just don't really know how to, because that's something that we cannot control, right? Women can't control to get a man to marry you, or like to like, we're not in control of the dating part, right? Like, as Kevin has said before, like we hold the control to intimacy, but they hold the control to relationships. So I think that this dialogue and these conversations are necessary so that women can be like more aware as to what to do or how to get into alignment to get into relationships.
Went to college, there was a curriculum. You had 100 and X hours to complete. In my freshman, I had to do this. Just like you work out, right? Mm-hmm. You don't just go to the gym and say, I want a good body. No. There's a workout regimen. It changes often. There's a diet. There's a lot that goes into being you.
Work.
Well, the kind of man you want, is he valuable?
Yes.
Is he rare?
Probably.
Well, then you're going to have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Or, buy a dog, die alone. Because the reality is, this is what happens. See, it's easy to stick your head down and work. And see, right around 30 is when a lot of times when women, black women in particular, in the black community, when we break up and have relationships, things fall apart, one of the first things we tend to want to do is go back to school. Go back to get more education. That's why I find so many sisters who are engaged and got masters. And all you're doing is wasting 2 more years. You're 30 years old. Are you about to go back to school?
I actually am, but wow. I feel like if I have the extra time, why not?
Wow, he called it.
You can't make this up because you don't have extra time. Listen to that TikTok. That's your biological clock ticking.
And I feel like I make myself available.
You feel like what?
I make myself available. And as I said, career path I choose is always flexible.
Okay, see, you can be pragmatic in your career path, but in your emotional life, it's all about your feelings. Don't tell me about what you feel. Tell me about what you think. Show me the numbers. You're going to an all-girls college and you're looking for a husband.
No.
Tell me about what you feel. You see what I said? When life starts to slow down, first thing a lot of black women want to do is, I'm going to go back to school so I can stick my head in the sand and feel like I'm getting something accomplished in life. So I'm going to do this. Well, I ain't got no husband. So.
That's powerful. That's powerful, because the sticking their head in the sand and just focusing on a new career or like, higher education is not necessarily for the higher education itself. It's for the validation from something. Because they don't feel validated in their normal life, because they don't have a husband, they don't have kids, they don't have any prospects, they're not even dating anyone. So that's a super powerful statement right there.
Let me go over here.
My head in the sand. My thing is...
And then I'm going to look up, and 2 years are going by, then what's going to happen is I got an MS or an MBA, then I sure can't date a guy who just graduated from high school because there's too much of an educational gap.
No. That's not what I'm doing. This is like 3 semesters, postmasters.
Postmasters?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I'm a PhD.
I'm a PhD. I don't mean to say it like that, but what I'm saying is...
I'm saying it like that because all the...
Available.
I think it is a travesty to have so many attractive, educated, intelligent, chronically single black women because you refuse to act like your non-black counterparts. You refuse to be competitive. You refuse to understand that the sexual marketplace requires you to compete for men. I have a colleague. His name is Dr. Tia-San Johnson. He teaches Black Masculine Studies, University of California, Santa Barbara. Mm-hmm. One of the 2 places in the country that teaches about black men. And you know what? He told me one of the largest enrollees in his class used to be white women. Used to fascinate him until he asked, "Why are you here?" He sat down and asked some of these college students, like, "I like black men. My boyfriend's black. I want to learn about the black culture, be a better woman for my man."
Wow.
You know who's not in that class? You. Becky's there to learn how to be a better woman to a black man, but you just expect black men to show up. Now Hispanic women are starting to show up because other women are coming for your men because other women have heard that y'all don't compete for your men. You just leave your treasure out there. So then you get mad when the Kardashians or when the ballers end up going with Becky. Why he married a white woman? Because you think it's self-hate. No, you're not. It's because those women actually showed some interest and came around and actually acted like they cared. They didn't just sit back like, "You need to come court me." But when black men get with non-black women, it ain't because they hate themselves. Most black men who are with non-black women will tell you they love black women. Their first choice will be a black woman. But being with a black woman in general is too complex. And then you tell that to a sister, "Well, we worked it, such and so forth." And all that sounds good until...
And I feel like a majority of the black women who are married to high profile men or who are happily married, where the man is happily married as well, they're they're very cooperative. You know, they're super cooperative. They're women who are just kind, like they just have like this energy about them that's just like sweet and like, you know, cool, calm, and collected. And I'm talking about the people who are happily married, that have like marriages that you would see people and say like, "Oh yeah, that's a nice marriage that people should emulate." So it's not that, you know, these women don't exist, or it's not that it's impossible, but it's just the majority of women have changed, and I feel like society has definitely tricked women a lot.
You 30, you got choices.
Yeah.
You got 30, and you're going to burn 3 semesters. 3 semesters of this very valuable 5-year period.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's a good choice, career choice, especially with the pandemic.
Okay.
And then it still allow me to be very flexible and be able to work anyway. So I don't think it would hinder.
Okay. Well, I would tell you that I know many women who went back to school, and I think they would beg to differ. I think they would tell you that being in school, you can't serve 2 masters. You got to have a job, and then you're in school. You have no time to really devote to a man.
Right.
Paging Doc, where's she at? Where they at? I wish I could bring them up right now. I'm telling you, I'm just talking. I do a lot of research. And just think about what I'm saying. Between 30 and 35 are critical years, and you're dedicating 3 semesters, so that's a year and a half. You're going to want to get some return from that year and a half investment.
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's say you found your husband, or your husband found you. Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant?
I mean, I don't want to necessarily.
Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant?
I don't want to, no.
Okay. What percentage of the family financial load do you want to have to carry for a lifetime? Out of 100%, what percentage do you want to be responsible for having to make?
I don't have that exact answer. I mean, I want to be...
Out of 100%, right now you got to pay 100% of your financial load. If you get married and you have 2 kids, what percentage of that financial load do you want to have to carry?
I don't know. The way I've always thought about it, being that I love that traditional, I would love to have a man that would want to do that and pay the major bills, but I know I will always help. So it just...
Okay, so what you're ultimately saying is, I don't want to have to carry any of it. I would help, but I want him to be able to pay 100% of everything.
At least the major stuff. I want to give him...
No, man. Man, when I say the mortgage, the car notes, the insurance, the retirement, the kids' college fund, all that stuff is something. What percentage of that do you want to have to be responsible for? And I'm just asking, what do you want to?
I would rather my husband, if God lets me have one, to pay mortgage.
This ain't about God. This is a natural choice. I'm a Christian, but this is natural. God ain't got no part in our failures down here.
Well, the major bills I would prefer my husband to pay just to have the household roll.
So in other words, ma'am, you want a
20%,
husband
30%
that can fund, that can afford to cover you, 2 kids, to where your money is discretionary.
Right.
I would help with the kids. No, I wouldn't do
I'm
that.
talking about the finances of the family. I'm not talking about the administering of the family. See, this is a question that so many black women don't think about the math of it. Because the next part is coming home. You said, I don't want to have to work to pay significant bills after I'm pregnant. That means your husband has to pay all the significant bills if you're not working, right?
I think I mistook that. I don't mind working after having kids, no.
Okay.
But it's hard.
But what percent? Okay, but I need to be real clear.
I think her answer genuinely is probably 20-30% based off of the conversation that she's having. And yeah, she just wants her money to be like the extra money in the house, where I got this and I can handle certain things, but if I stop working, then it doesn't really matter that much.
You have to pay 100% of your lifestyle right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
After you're married with 2 children, what percentage of your family's lifestyle do you want to have to pay?
I don't want to say 50-50 just for shits and giggles. Let's do 75-25.
75 is going to who? Him?
Yes.
I knew it.
All right. That means if the mortgage was $2,000, that means he's paying $1,500 and you paying $500.
If he got
listen. 25% is a nice tip. So what you're basically saying is, I want a man who can pay damn near 80% of the entire family financial load. The mortgage, the car payment, the insurance, the retirement, the trips, the travel, the braces, everything. Man, you said 75-25.
I don't know.
But the thing is that there's nothing wrong if that's what you would. If you ideally want that, there's nothing wrong with saying that that's what you would ideally want. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that that's what you would want or prefer. Especially in just a conversation with dialogue. It doesn't mean that that's exactly what's going to happen in your life, but there's nothing wrong with just saying, like, yeah, like, that's what I would want.
Stop. It doesn't matter how precise you get it. The bottom line is, you don't want it to be 50-50. But here's the thing. Okay, so listen, this is important. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
That means this career you're talking about,
don't even matter that
you're
much.
going to give it up anyway, because the real career is your husband. He's going to be bringing in all the money. If you get the man you want, he's going to be the major breadwinner. You are not going to be responsible, so this extra degree, extra thing is all actually not going to an outcome.
Means you're chasing the wrong thing. Your focus is in the wrong place.
Just sitting on the wall.
Yeah.
You think so?
Man, if you have a husband paying 75% of everything and you're paying 25%, you are not in a career. You got a job. He's carrying the lion's share. So why do you need a master's or anything else like that to cover 25%? No. Listen.
I was going to give
because this is what so many sisters don't do. They just go talk about jobs and careers and this, but when it gets right down to it, I really don't want to have to be the one responsible for the financial load. I hope God blesses me with a man that I can be, and that's fine. So start with the end in mind. You don't want to have to be the breadwinner.
Right.
You don't even want to be 50-50. But see, the thing is, you got to get the man first.
Right.
Or that scenario you want?
I get what you're saying, but let me plead my case. The type of jobs that I go after, the reason why I want to do that is because it allows me to be what they call PRN. So I work as...
I know what PRN means. I get it.
Oh, but I still make a really good income. So it allows me to be very flexible. Like, I can date.
Right. So where's your money going to go?
Now, even though it sounds terrible what you're saying.
It's not sounds terrible. It sounds accurate. It sounds like most women don't want to have to be responsible for the financial family load. They want it on their husband. So if that's the case, You don't need a career. You need enough money to cover 25%. And that's not an MBA, a master's, or anything else. You could work anywhere and cover 25%. But see, so many women think I'll do all this, and I'm assuming you're taking out loans just to pay for this stuff.
Not this time around.
How much student loan debt did you take out? Did you have an issue?
You just really got to tell it all my business.
Because here's the thing. If at the end of the day you find the man God has for you, here you go, honey. I've got a bachelor's, I've got a master's, and I've got this. All this debt. There you go. Here's the mortgage. Here's the kids. Here's all this. You pay all that. Now I got this 25%. You got that. Now I got the bachelor's and the master's and all this other stuff. But I'm actually practically responsible for this portion of it.
Right.
Then you don't need it.
I know you don't want to get into the specifics, but a major reason I like the sound of that is because I want my significant other to have that head of household. So if it makes him feel like better doing that, or if that's something I can allow him to do just to have that traditional role, I want him to do that for his family. I want him to be able to pay the mortgage.
What do you mean?
Have no problem helping in this.
No. You're a Southern woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. You don't want to marry a man, have 2 kids, and you're paying 50% of the bills.
Not the whole time. Like, I would rather.
See, that's the point. Then stop. Then you need to understand how much it's going to... See, this is where not having a family plan, what kind of man would you need, what kind of income would you need a man to make to be able to support the kind of lifestyle you want for your kids and your family, to where your employment is flexible? Because here's the reality. If you never marry, you got to pay 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why, ladies, this whole notion of dying alone or settling, one way you're paying 100% of everything by your damn self. So I don't care if you love. I don't care if the dick is good. If the man is doing what he's supposed to do, you need to realize you're lucky to have somebody to settle for. Because at 30 years old, I know emotionally what you want, but I think it's fair to say, practically, you've not really sat down and thought about the math of it.
I think this part is important as well, because there's different aspects that people look at when they're getting into a marriage. Some people approach marriage with love and emotion and feelings, and other people approach marriage with just a practical, logical mindset of how can I do this and how can we do that to build this, because this is what we want to achieve and that's it. And I think it's necessary that those conversations are had, because people need to know that, like, not all these people that you see are married and are traveling and do this stuff, they didn't approach marriage the same way that you might have think that they did. And I think that's important, that it's not always going to be the same road to get to a certain outcome. There's always very, very, very different choices and mindsets.
Thought about the actual T's and I's of it. It's always been me. And then, oh, well, that's a guy who's making $200,000, $250,000. Yay!
I'm pretty simplistic. But I get what you're saying.
Okay, pretty simplistic. Do you want to live in a house?
Yes.
How much do you think it would cost to live in Memphis for a family of 4, middle class, to where your kids could go to a nice public school or even a private school where they could get braces, join all the clubs, all the stuff that most middle class folks would do? Go to college if necessary. And how much would a man need to make?
I haven't added that up.
Well, you tell me.
He said, I don't care. Tell me.
I don't know about Memphis. I know in the country where I'm at, you can get a good acre and a nice, decent...
Yeah, but do they have good public schools, good private schools? No, they don't.
They do.
Okay, ma'am. Roughly, the number's about $300,000, because Memphis ain't that different than Atlanta in the cost of living. And the fact of the matter, you just said it. I haven't thought of that. That means you haven't thought about the actual man or the resources required to facilitate this dream, this hope, this goal you would have? What kind of man income would he need to make to be able to let your income be variable, let you not have to work to pay significant bills once you're pregnant? After you have your baby, do you want to have to go back to work after 12 weeks? Or do you want to be able to stay home with your child for the first year or two?
Yeah. I feel like this is boiling down to finances.
Because we're grown-ups. Mm-hmm. And life does boil down to finances. I asked you a question. Do you want to have to, after 12 weeks of FMLA, do you want to have to go back to the hospital? Or do you want to be able to stay at home and raise your child?
I would think most women would say, like me, they want to...
I'm asking you.
Oh, wow. But yeah, I would go back to work.
Okay, what do you want, man? See, and this is another thing. I don't understand why black women act like money is not something to be considered. It has to be thought about.
But I know I'm not going to be able to be a homemaker, and I'm okay with that.
I didn't say be a homemaker. I said, do you want to have to, after 12 weeks of FMLA, do you want to have to turn your child over to a daycare and you go back to work, or do you want to have the ability to stay at home?
In a perfect world, no, but I will.
In a perfect world, no. Which one is it?
It's that if I had the option from the man that I was with, not
make it simple. Which one do you want?
I want to work. How about that? I want to work. I enjoy what I do.
You want to work?
Mm-hmm. I enjoy what I do.
Okay, you want to work. Okay, cool. How much is infant child care monthly?
I don't have the answer to that.
Ballpark, what do you think?
Infant child care, in a month, a year?
A month. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a couple thousand.
Yep. So while you go back to work after 12 weeks, you can write off at least $500 a month for your baby to go to daycare to be raised and cared for by
somebody else,
whoever, in the Corona daycare. Instead of you and
not that kind of daycare. He plays too much. And I think she's probably getting a little upset and a little antsy just because of the fact that, you know, as intelligent as she is with all her degrees, he's asking her questions and she doesn't have the answers to them and she feels a little bit uncomfortable. But in actuality, it's like, yeah, like, okay, as a nurse, right? I'm not a nurse, so I don't know. But I would assume that as a nurse, you would want to stay home with your baby because, you know, I don't know if it's easier to get sick when you're working in the hospital. I would assume it would be. If it's easier to contract things when you're in the hospital and then you bring that home to your newborn baby. And I think that, I don't know what women want or what women prefer, but as a woman, I feel like if you waited so long to be able to have that baby, you want to be there with your baby for a year. You don't want to leave your baby in somebody's care. You can't really trust people. And beyond that, I mean, obviously, if you have to do what you have to do. But I think a lot of women, especially when they see that baby, when the baby is born, they're like, man, I want to be with this baby. I don't want to leave this baby. A lot of women that do have a baby and they go back to work, they cry a lot because they're just so sad that they don't have that time with their baby. So I just think she's just trying to answer any kind of way just because she's kind of like in a corner and she doesn't like the position that he's put her into.
With your baby doing what you're doing, that's $24,000 taken out of the family just like that. That's before Pampers and everything else.
You might as well not work. That way you can, you save up some money so that you can take that time off from work, but you might as well not go back to work if you're going to be spending that money anyway.
And then when you have another baby, because you're not going to have one, you have two. You're going to have one in 3 years old or 2 years old and another one. This is why you ladies got to start thinking about this. Infant child care is expensive. Daycare is expensive.
Yeah.
You find that you have a 1 or 2 year old and an infant in daycare, that may be fully 50% of your salary.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, you have to have it. And black women, hear me well. Y'all need to learn about the men and learn about the math. Because just acting like it doesn't exist or to take care of itself, it does come down to money. And we don't talk about money in the black community.
Not enough.
But it's like tacky and leaping and ghost. But then we're mad when shit don't work out. You be mad if you living in an apartment and having to work like a man woman.
You know, that starts as children. Like, you don't ask nobody how much they making or.
No, and I'm expecting that. But see, the thing is, not other cultures don't do that. They do this. Because here's the net of it. Bottom line is this. You want your husband to make more than you. Because he's going to have to carry the bulk of the financial load. And you know how much you make. What percentage of men in this country make more than $75,000? What percentage of black men earn more than $75,000?
Not a lot.
15%, and they ain't in podunk America. That's what I'm saying. So it comes down to, I'm passionate about this because so many black women are just out there just like, well, I got me together and I'm doing me. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you want a man to be all these things, and you need to know who he is, what he needs to do, how much he needs to earn. And let's go all the way back to the beginning. Men earn the kind of money you're talking about aren't 30 years old. Men are in the peak of their financial income at 45 to 55, not 32.
I understand.
So this was a good call because all the things you may want, think, when you have to have them challenged, when you and your girlfriends are sitting down talking about this, I would almost guarantee they'll never get this specific or this granular. It's all in this. What I would like to have and possible. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Let's move it down the path. The very men that you or your girlfriends would want, they want something too. What do they want from a woman? And see, if you haven't even identified who these men are, what they do, how much they make, such and so forth, that means you damn sure can't tell me what they want from a woman. So how do you expect for these two things to come together?
Okay.
So there you go. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's get back and forth. Move out of Memphis. Bye.
I appreciate this conversation a lot. I like that it didn't go off track. I like that there wasn't, emotions flying and stuff like that. But I think I agree. It is essential that, especially like if you're home if you're with your girls and you guys are talking about things, I think it is important to be super specific because, yeah, like other races for sure are definitely way more open than we are, which is natural based off of like our history and stuff like that. It's completely natural. But I think it's important to be specific, and it's important to know that like you can go and go, but life is not waiting for anybody. Like time will just keep passing you by, and then you have all these accomplishments, but then you are still looking and searching for that to fill that void that's there that you always wanted, and the time is not there. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Make sure that you guys give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to this channel and hit that notification bell. I do post a video every single day, but the time varies. So hit that bell so you're notified when I do post. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow my Instagram. It's at RIVAH_JORDON. I thank you guys so very much for watching, and I love you guys. Mwah. I will see you guys in the next video.